Sure, we work in a global profession. There are centers of excellence for computing engineering and software engineering that can be found throughout the world. But how does that affect us? We spend most of our days working in our office, at our projects, doing our work. Hi, this is David Allen Greer for IEEE Computer, with a new column that is entitled The Global Code. As I'm waiting in the Otto Lilienthal Lounge of Berlin's Tegel Airport, I sit 3 feet and half a world away from a woman tapping away on her cell phone. We've exchanged enough pleasantries to discover that we don't speak the same language, but I'm convinced I can learn her story from the dance of her fingers across the screen and the movements of her face. Technology is universal, and I believe I see that universality before me. Between bursts of actions with her thumbs, her right index finger lightly sweeps over the screen, showing me that she's either texting, emailing, or perhaps using social media. Her smile is simple, relaxed. Her eyes expand when a new message arrives. Her head cocks as she processes the information. She seems to be having a conversation with a friend, someone with a shared interest, a common background. Yet, I know that these actions are likely not unique to her. I spent the fall semester studying how German organizations develop and deploy computing technology. While visiting, I went to universities and think tanks, supercomputer centers, and companies that insist I abide by strict non-disclosure agreements. I witnessed the unifying nature of technology. For example, I noticed habits in Berlin that were similar to those in Bangalore and in Silicon Valley. I've also seen technology decisions that only make sense in a narrow cultural context. For example, the German train reservation website won't produce results for Lunenburg with an umlaut when you search for Lunenburg without the umlaut. That difference seemed insignificant to me while performing my search, but as it turns out, Lunenburg without the umlaut is in South Africa. So that little piece of punctuation represents a cultural change, a distance of more than 8,000 miles, and 42 integers on the ASCII table. Such experiences remind me how much local culture can be contained in computing technology. In the middle of my visit, a large German firm showed me how it captured local culture for its mobile shopping app. Its large user experience lab had all the modern tools, data gathering systems, eye tracking sensors, analytic renderings, predictive models. The lab workers said that they used these tools to develop a narrative for their app that was fundamentally German. We have very few customers outside of Germany, one explained. And yet, if their design had any German elements, it acquired those elements through an innate process rather than explicit design. The developers used their equipment to tailor specific elements of the app to their various customers' habits. For example, they carefully refined how they used pictures of female models. They found that men and women look at female models in different ways. Women tend to look at the model's eyes, while men tend to look toward the mouth. Starting with those 2 points, the designers used graphic design, text, button placement to guide these 2 groups to the services that each was most likely to use. Women visited pages designed for them, while men moved to their part of the site. It was as if someone was giving the 2 genders written instructions about what they should do and how they should behave. The designers were especially proud of this aspect of their work, but it utilized a habit that didn't seem to be uniquely German. North American researchers have discovered exactly the same phenomena among their subjects. If all app developers are as successful as those at this German firm, my conclusions about the women at the airport might be suspect. I might not be watching her reactions to a close friend, but instead could be observing a performance that was carefully guided by a team of app developers located in the US or in India rather than in Germany. However, we all know that computing technology has changed local culture and has been changed by it. this new column and this new podcast, we'll look at those changes, big and small, and try to determine what they might mean for our field and for the world. This is David Alan Grier for The Global Code. Today's episode has been called Local Culture and Global Habits. Take care.